Okay, let's start another deep dive. We're looking at a specific source today, an excerpt you provided from William Boericke's Homeopathic Materia Medica.
That's right. And the focus is Apocynum Androsaemifolium, which you might know as dogbane.
Dogbane, right. And our mission, just to be clear for everyone listening, is to see what this specific text tells us about its traditional homeopathic use.
Exactly. We're sticking just to what Boericke wrote here. And remember, this kind of materia medica is essentially a compilation of reported symptoms and uses. It's historical data from within that system.
Got it. Purely source-based. Now, as I was looking through this entry for Apocynum, well, something really leaped out.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
Before we even get to the joints and pains, the source mentions this sensation where everything smells and tastes like honey.
Ah, yes. That one.
I mean, just imagine that. It's such a peculiar, specific detail for the author to record. Kind of amazing.
It really is. It's listed right there in the general description. Definitely one of those unique keynotes you sometimes find captured in these older texts.
So, okay, putting aside the world tasting like honey for a second,
Yeah.
what does the source primarily focus on for this remedy? Where did Boericke see the most promise?
Well, the text is pretty direct about that. It states, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, that the rheumatic symptoms promise most curative results.
Rheumatic symptoms. Okay, so joint pains, muscle issues, that sort of thing.
Precisely. According to this source, that's the main sphere of action for Apocynum.
Does it give any more detail? Like what kind of rheumatic symptoms? Are they sharp, dull, fixed?
Yeah, it does specify. It says the pains are of a wandering nature.
Wandering.
Yeah.
So they move around, not fixed in one spot.
Exactly. That's what wandering typically implies in these descriptions. The text also mentions much stiffness and drawing.
Drawing, like a pulling feeling.
Yeah, often described as a pulling or constrictive sensation. So wandering pains, stiffness, and that drawing feeling.
Okay, so that's the core rheumatic picture according to Boericke here.
Yeah.
Did the source mention any other sort of general symptoms, even briefly?
It did, yeah. Very quickly, it lists worms, trembling, and prostration, like weakness and swollen sensations.
Right, but they seem less emphasized than the rheumatic stuff.
Definitely seems that way from this excerpt. They're just listed without much elaboration compared to the rheumatic details.
Makes sense. Now, you mentioned extremities earlier. Looking at the text again, the section specifically labeled extremities seems quite detailed.
It really is. That's where Boericke provides a lot more specifics for Apocynum. It lists pain in all joints, sure, but then gets more granular.
How so?
It mentions pain in toes and soles, specifically the feet, and swelling of hands and feet.
Swelling too, okay.
Anything else?
Yes. Profuse sweat with much heat in soles. That heat in the soles seems important.
Yeah, I noticed that phrase heat in soles seemed to pop up.
It does, and then it gets even more specific. Violent heat in soles. And interestingly, the source actually cross-references sulf right after that point.
Sulf. You mean sulfur, another remedy. Exactly. Sulfur. In these materia medicas, when an author cross-references another remedy for a specific symptom like that, it usually means they see a strong similarity or connection for that particular symptom.
So Boericke thought that violent heat in the soles was a notable link between Apocynum and sulfur. That's quite telling.
It suggests it was a key symptom in his observation. The extremities section also notes tingling pain in toes and cramps in soles. Really reinforces the focus on the feet and lower legs.
Okay, a very specific picture for the extremities then. How does the source wrap up? Does it give any practical advice, like how to use it?
It ends pretty simply, just providing the dosage information recommended by Boericke. Tincture and first potency.
So the original herbal extract and the first level of dilution in the homeopathic system?
That's right, basic dosage guidance.
Okay. So to recap our deep dive, based only on this Boericke excerpt you gave us, Apocynum Androsaemifolium is presented primarily for rheumatic issues.
Right, especially those in the extremities.
Characterized by wandering pains, stiffness, drawing sensations, swelling.
And particularly that intense heat in the soles, which Boericke even compared to sulfur, plus other foot symptoms like tingling and cramps.
And we absolutely cannot forget that very strange, unique symptom noted. Everything smelling and tasting like honey.
Correct. We've basically pulled out the key traditional uses and the symptom picture as laid out in the specific text.
You know, thinking about this, when you see symptoms like violent heat in soles being compared across remedies, or something as subjective as the honey taste smell linked with physical complaints like rheumatism,
Yeah.
What does that suggest to you about how symptoms were observed and connected in this system, at least by this author?
It highlights a really wide, sometimes unexpected range of experiences being categorized together. Definitely something for you, the listener, to think about.